Hey, it's Sandra. Welcome to another episode of Asexualise My Sexual Life. This is a place to be for education about asexuality, all things asexual. So subscribe and hit the bell icon right now so you never miss an episode. So today we're going to be discussing how asexuals identify asexually and within the asexual spectrum. So if you didn't know, asexuality is a sexual orientation that's based on the lack of sexual attraction. And I'm going to be reading from Asexual Perspectives book tonight because it's to celebrate our diversity across the asexual spectrum and our differences within it for Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month. And I say tonight, but it might be daytime where you are. I'm in the UK. And I think it's very important to understand asexuality before we dive into how people identify. So asexuality is a sexual orientation that's based largely on a lack of sexual attraction. There are two main types of asexuals, if you like. There are the pure asexuals who don't experience any sexual attraction whatsoever. And then there are the grey asexuals who experience sexual attraction, but only under limited, infrequent, or specific circumstances, or they experience it, but not enough to want to act on it. So they lack the usual sexual attraction. So pure asexuals lack all sexual attraction, grey asexuals lack the usual sexual attraction. So we can say, in broad terms, asexuals lack sexual attraction. So asexuals are made up of different types again and subcategories. So some asexuals are romantic asexuals, for example, other asexuals are non-romantic asexuals. And then we've got loads of different subcategories in between. You can be any gender and be asexual. Some people mix or confuse, should I say, asexuality with gender types. You can be any gender when you're asexual. And you can be attracted in other ways to people rather than sexually. So some asexuals have aesthetic attraction, for example, some asexuals towards someone else, some asexuals have emotional attraction, some have close attraction. So there's different types of attractions. There's close attraction, emotional attraction, romantic attraction, aesthetic attraction, spiritual attraction, intelligence attraction, sensual attraction, and there's other types of attractions. But one thing we have in common is we have a lack of sexual attraction, as in we don't have the usual full sexual attraction, or we have none at all. So it's interesting to find out how different asexuals identify on the asexual spectrum. So Hannah Leigh Steinhardt's story from Asexual Perspectives. You can get this book on Amazon or from all good bookshops. How do you identify yourself asexually? I am an aromantic asexual, or some people pronounce it aromantic asexual, who enjoys completely platonic touching, hugs, etc. with people I know well. I might be demi-romantic, but as it hasn't happened yet, I have no way of knowing. It is something I haven't experienced, but I don't think I'm completely aromantic. So would that be grey romantic then? I don't really care about labels, but it is one of those things that is nice to know. So if you're unaware of aromantic. Now, aromantic is someone who lacks romantic attraction, but aromanticism is a spectrum, and you can get aromantic asexuals or aromantic sexuals. So if we're talking about an aromantic asexual, it's a person who doesn't experience romantic attraction, a absence of romantic attraction, asexual, absence of sexual attraction. And if we look at the aromantic spectrum within asexuality, for example, you've got a pure aromantic asexual, just like you've got a pure asexual, you've got a pure aromantic asexual. That's someone who doesn't experience any romantic attraction whatsoever. A pure aromantic is someone who doesn't experience any romantic attraction whatsoever. A pure aromantic and pure asexual is someone who wouldn't experience any romantic attraction whatsoever and any sexual attraction whatsoever. But aromanticism is a spectrum ranging from pure asexuals to those who are grey asexual. Again, similar to pure asexuals and pure grey asexuals. There's pure aromantics and grey romantics. Does that make sense? So the pure aromantics, like I say, they don't experience any romantic attraction whatsoever. The grey romantics, they lack the usual romantic attraction, but very similar. They can experience romantic attraction, but not enough to want to act on it, which is a grey romantic person. Or they could be demi-romantic, someone who only experiences romantic attraction when a deep emotional bond has been formed. Or they could be a cupiromantic. A cupiromantic is someone who doesn't experience any romantic attraction, but they desire a romantic relationship still. So this person's thinking they might be demi-romantic because although they don't experience any romantic attraction, they feel that something within them might make them experience romantic attraction in the future if they ever meet someone they form that deep emotional bond with. So bear in mind that aromanticism is also a spectrum. So Zoe's story, how do you identify yourself asexually? These labels are still so new to me, but I found it difficult to categorize correctly. I'm an asexual who doesn't like or want sex, but who needs human affection, hugs, an arm around my waist, holding hands, cuddling. As for kissing, a kiss on the cheek and the lips is okay, but I don't like French kissing. As to orientation, it is difficult for me to state because I feel no sexual attraction to either gender. I feel attracted to the person who is inside the human shell. Most of the time, I gravitate towards women. Does that make me gay, even though I've never had a sexual relationship with a woman? Hard to be sure, but all things are pointing to that. I don't really like men, even just as friends, because I find most of them have a condescending, chauvinistic mindset towards women. I did have a squish. I just recently learned this term on a woman a few years ago. She was a temp at my workplace, and I felt a connection to her, though I only approached her as a friend, not on a romantic level. When she found a full-time job elsewhere, I gave her my personal email address and said I wanted to keep in contact. This is the first person I'd ever said that to. She wholeheartedly agreed, and that made me happy, thinking this could evolve into something, at the very least, a new friend. However, she never answered any of my emails, so after a few months, I stopped sending them. I was crushed. I really thought she liked me. So this can be really devastating, you know. First of all, I find, going back to what Zoe said about kissing, I find a lot of asexuals are not that into kissing. Like she said, kiss on the cheek and the lips are okay, but I don't like French kissing. I am a hyper romantic, hyper kisser asexual, which is very rare to be a hyper kisser. And I love French kissing. I originally didn't think I would like it until my last long-term ex tried it. Long-term ex, that relationship ended in 2011. And I didn't think I like it until he started doing it. He started putting his tongue in my mouth. And at first I thought this is a bit weird, but then I began to really love it because I know how to do controlled kissing like that. Of course, if you're going like that all over the place, it's like a snake, it's gross. But if you're doing controlled kissing and you're feeling around the mouth, it can be very sensual, beautiful, exciting experience. I love French kissing. It's my favorite type of kissing these days. I love it so much. But yes, I think I'm very different to a lot of asexuals who are not that into kissing. And so yeah, I know how this person feels, though, because this person, I mean, I haven't had a squish. I don't even understand squishes because I'm asexual, hyper romantic. So squish is like, to me, a squish is something that I find people who are not as romantic as me might have. And you know, I went around the zoo recently with an Asian guy and had such a great time with him, and we connect on Facebook, but he hasn't spoke to me since that day. And I don't think it's because he doesn't like me. I just think it's because maybe he knows that I'm a romantic asexual and he is not compatible romantically with me, which is why he hasn't spoke to me since. I don't think because he said that the best part of his day was spending the day with me, which I thought was really nice. But I would hope that he would keep in touch on Facebook and at least see me as a friend occasionally, but doesn't look like it's happening. So there we go. But I still had a great time with him. It's really nice. So, how do you identify yourself asexually? Carrie Ann. Heteromantic asexual, mostly sex repulsed, but more willing when there is a strong emotional bond. And I'm jaded too. So, in other words, I'm out of luck. So, yes, more willing when there is a strong emotional bond. So, that's very interesting. Okay, Molly, how do you identify? I am an aromantic asexual. I don't like sex. I don't like kissing more than on the cheek. So yeah, I find a lot of asexuals, even romantic asexuals, don't tend to like French kissing, tongue kissing. I love tongue kissing so much. Fiora story. How do you identify yourself asexually? I identify as a heteromantic asexual, but I am not romantically inclined. Meaning, even though I do have crushes, I don't actually feel a pull to be in a relationship with the people I have crushes on. Romance doesn't appeal to me. See, I would personally say, I mean, everyone's should identify how they want to identify. But personally, for me, when I'm reading Fiora's story, and how do you identify yourself asexually? This is an asexual perspectives book on Amazon. And this person's saying, I identify as heteromantic asexual, but I'm not romantically inclined. Meaning, even though I do have crushes, I don't actually feel a pull to be in a relationship with the people I have crushes on. Romance doesn't appeal to me. I would say that's a grey romantic person. So I would say this person, they could be heteromantic, but grey romantic, heteromantic, if you know what I mean, because I would say that they fall more into the category of grey romantic, as in grey romantic is a person that can experience romantic attraction, but not enough to want to act on it. And the way that Fiora talks is they don't feel pulled to be in a relationship with people they have romantic feelings for. So it's not strong enough. So I would say they're heteromantic in the sense they're just attracted to the opposite gender, but grey romantic. So they're heteromantic, grey romantic is how I would personally phrase them rather than just a heteromantic. So hetero, grey romantic is what I would say they are personally. But obviously, I'm saying that so that you understand the difference, because a heteromantic, I identify as heteromantic, right? And in general, a heteromantic is romantically attracted to the opposite gender, right? That's what it means, heteromantic. But if someone's experiences romantic attraction, but they're not really pulled enough to want to act on that attraction, that's usually a grey romantic. It means they're on the aromantic spectrum because they're not that romantically inclined, even though they do have some romantic attraction. It's not the full romantic attraction. Does that make sense? So let's go to Thylacine story. How do you identify yourself asexually? Aromantic. Just want to be friends with people and that's it. So isn't that interesting that you've got people who are aromantic in here, who identify as aromantic, that do want a kiss on the cheek and stuff like that. But you've got this other person who's aromantic and they just want to be friends with people. That's it. So it just goes to show you that not every aromantic person who lacks romantic attraction wants us, identifies exactly the same or feels the same way about other people. So there we go. Isadora's story. I'm an asexual aromantic. There's loads of aromantic asexuals and asexual perspectives, by the way. If you haven't got a copy, make sure you get one from Amazon or a good bookshop. Waterstones, Barnes and Noble, take your pick. Other stones, I was gonna say other stores, Blackwell's, Walmart. So it's a Dora story. I'm an aromantic asexual. I'm sex positive and actually pretty interested in sex as a human behavior. I just have no desire to have it myself. So that's interesting that they are aromantic asexual. And yeah. So again, there's a lot of aromantic asexuals in this book. Because I've been asked before, oh, in this book, is there aromantic asexuals? And it's like, yes, there's a lot of aromantic asexuals in this book. So I think that's very important to note. Right. So, and this, like Cassie is the next one, and they just identify as an aromantic asexual. So there's so many aromantic asexuals in this book. Right, Claire Evelyn's story. I don't really go for labels. I just know if I'm following my own personal don't ask and don't tell policy. Oh, they've put, I don't know. I don't really go for labels. I don't know if I am following my own personal don't ask and don't tell policy, but over the years it has become one. Yes, we've had debates on this channel before about labels. Like some people don't like using labels. I personally love labeling myself. I'll tell you what I am if you didn't already know at the end of these conversations with Darcy next. How do you identify yourself asexually? I identify right now as a pan-romantic grey asexual. And they haven't expanded on that. They've just said that's how they identify. So, yes. There's lots of different types of asexuals in here. There's a demisexual as well, in case you were wondering. I don't know where they are in this book at present, but I know there is one, because I know that they've felt left out of the asexual community sometimes, even though they do belong in the asexual spectrum. So how do you identify yourself asexually? I am definitely a romantic, says Juanita. Historically, I've been gay, so I guess I'm a homo-romantic. And I think demisexual sounds the closest to what I think I am, but I'm still reading and learning about all the terms. So yeah, and a homo-romantic is someone who's attracted to the same gender romantically. It's usually a term used in the asexual community for someone who experiences romantic attraction towards the same gender, but not sexual attraction. And demisexual, as I think I mentioned earlier, a demisexual person is someone who can only experience sexual attraction when a deep emotional bond has been formed. Usually that has to be maintained and sustained. And up until that point, they don't experience sexual attraction at all. So they're like a pure asexual who doesn't experience any sexual attraction whatsoever until they form a deep emotional bond. Then they do experience sexual attraction, but they're on the grey asexual part of the spectrum because they have the ability to experience a full sexual attraction, even if they don't experience it until they've got a deep emotional bond formed with a person. So I personally, in simplistic terms, identify as a heteromantic asexual. That's very simplistic. So I'm attracted to the opposite gender, in my case, the guys, romantically, and in lots of other ways, but not sexually. If you want my full label, I identify as a heteromantic, hyperromantic, hyperkisser, grey asexual, younger cougar who doesn't like sex, just kissing. And I'm not a textbook grey A because I don't experience any sexual attraction whatsoever. I just have grey areas with the way I like to kiss and dance, which is sexual behavior sometimes, even though I experience zero sexual attraction. But for the most part, it's easier to say I'm a heteromantic asexual or a heteromantic hyperromantic hyperkisser asexual who's into younger guys, particularly foreign, particularly Indian, actually. So there we go. But I like Bangladesh guys. I get attracted to them. Middle Eastern guys. I get attracted to a lot of foreign guys. I love coloured skin. I think it's really aesthetically beautiful. And I get usually attracted to guys in their early to mid-20s the most. So yeah, I'm not really attracted to guys anywhere near my birth certificate age. It wasn't always like that, but over the years, that's what's happened, and I feel so much more comfortable around guys who are my mindset age, 21. And I live like a teenager and love that about myself. So yeah, I really like have the energy usually of a 21-year-old. The majority of the time. Well, actually, I have more than they've got sometimes. So, when I've been out clubbing before, some guys like who are like in their early 20s are like, I'm tired now. I need to go home. And I'm like, okay, bye. See you. I'm finished. I'm still here clubbing. I can't club at the moment though, because I've got a back injury. But I'm working hard on my physio exercises to get back to being stronger again. So yeah, it's just I've got 2 wedge fractures in my spine, so 2 broken bones, but they're getting better, so that's good news. But yeah, so that's how I identify it, and personally, I how that translates into uh attraction with a guy, if you like that, my hyper romanticism means I'm excessively romantic, but I don't have to have a guy to be excessively romantic because my nature is hyper romantic, meaning I love romance. Like, I self date every week, usually on a Sunday, as you might have noticed on this channel. I usually go to the cinema and I date myself, which is an absolutely beautiful, amazing thing. I like dressing up sexily for myself and looking gorgeous and cute and pretty and sweet and hot. So yeah, even though I'm asexual, I can say hot and sexy because to me that's more to do with aesthetics. And I don't mind being a sexy person, I just don't want sex. And hyper kisser. So in the world, there's some hypersexuals. I'm not a hypersexual. I'm not interested in sex whatsoever, but I'm a hyper kisser. So that means that I can kiss for hours, nearly non-stop, because I usually have to go to the toilet in that time, but don't get bored. So I see kissing as like a beautiful activity to do. Obviously, you've got to have a willing participant. And I would love, if I ever get into a relationship with a guy in the future, because I'm doing a dating detox at the moment, I like that as like a favorite hobby to do with the guy. Like, it's a really good activity. It's a sport. I'm going to label it as a sport. Well, apparently dancing's an actual sport now, and I like dancing, and I don't generally like sport at all. But some people class dancing as a sport, and so I don't see why kissing for hours cannot be a sport that I really enjoy, because it's very full body workout, and very physical activity to do. But yeah, if I ever meet the right guy and the guy loves kissing as much as I do, naturally, it'd be really, really good. So I really enjoy that. And I have the grey area, like I said, of being sexual in behaviour sometimes with the way I like to kiss and dance, but I have 0 sexual attraction. So I call it my grey area, because it can be very confusing, I think, to sexuals unless I make it plain and clear, which I usually always do, that whatever my actions are doesn't mean to say I want sex, because I just like kissing, not for it to lead on to anything. And apart from more kissing. And yeah, I'm attracted to younger guys. You know, I can't force myself to be attracted to older guys when usually I'm not. I'm not saying there can never be any circumstances ever where I'm attracted, or never attracted, should I say, to an older guy. It might happen a little bit or once in a blue moon, but usually as a general rule, I'm attracted to younger guys. I feel they're more on my vibe, they're more on my energy level, I'm more on theirs, and I relate to them much more. I'm really not interested in my birth certificate age. I'm not interested in birth certificate piece of paper. I'm interested in it because it's my legal birth certificate age, but I don't have anything to do with that other than that, right? So I believe that age is a state of mind and soul. For me, like, my soul age is really young, and that's what matters to me. And just like guys who are into older women can't force themselves to be into younger girls, and if they're really genuine into older women. So there's some guys who are really into older women, but it's more like a fantasy thing. It's more like they want an experience, and they just want to play around with an older woman for a little bit. They don't want a serious committed relationship, right? But there's some guys who genuinely like older women, and when they're around women of their own age, they're just like, I always think of them more like as mates. They're not really attracted to them. They more like seem as friends, mates, someone to hang out with, but not someone they'd actually want a long-term serious committed relationship with. And so for them, they like an older woman to actually have a relationship with, and I like a younger guy to actually have a relationship with. But the problem is there is a lot of guys, for example, on dating sites that like older women, but a lot of them like older women in secret and stuff like this. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in being in a relationship with a guy who wants to make me a secret because he's scared of other people knowing he likes older girl. If he just wants some secret fling stuff, I'm really not interested in it. And I do like younger guys who've got older souls, because a girl who's got an older birth certificate age but younger soul. So that would work out quite well, you know? I still get attracted to Indian guys, even though I'm not actively pursuing any guys at the moment, and I'm not active on dating sites anymore. So yeah, I do get attracted a bit to Asian guys, Chinese guys, for example, but not as much as Indian guys. And yeah, I tend to get attracted more to foreign guys than British guys. But I'm not completely opposed to being with a British guy, but I just find foreign guys more attractive, aesthetically attractive. I find there's chemistry more. So some people don't understand that asexuals can still have chemistry with others. So chemistry can be like sexual attraction. For example, if two people are sexually attracted to each other, that can be chemistry. But you can also have chemistry between an asexual person and a sexual person. For example, I could have chemistry because I'm really romantically and aesthetically attracted to a guy, but he might be asexually and sexually attracted to me and less romantic attracted to me. Or he could be romantic, aesthetic, and sexually attracted to me. But I can have chemistry with a guy because I can have kissing chemistry. Like I want, desire, and need to kiss that person, that guy, even though I don't want sex. So there can still be energy, a sensuality to that type of thing. There can still be like a magnetic attraction if I'm really aesthetically attracted to the guy. Can be very compelling. So for me, aesthetic and romantic attraction can be as compelling, if you like, as a guy who is sexually attracted to me, because it's that powerful and strong romantic and aesthetic attraction, because I'm a hyper romantic and a hyper kisser. And I can experience arousal, but zero sexual attraction. I experience arousal for kissing. Usually, like kissing makes me want more kissing. If it's with the right guy, of course. So everyone on the spectrum's different. I haven't yet met another person on any sexual spectrum that says they're a hyper kisser. I have not met anyone that calls themselves out, which I guess is great in a way because it means I've uniquely labeled myself. But I don't know anyone else that calls themselves an asexual cougar either, apart from me. Younger cougar, I might add. And the reason I do that is because it's nice to be different. It's nice to stand out. It's a unique thing about me. And it does usually ward off older guys because I'm not usually attracted to older guys. I'm not saying I said that I can never be attracted. One older guy I've been with who was foreign years ago, he was more like a hypersexual. And in the end, I'm like, why the hell are you dating this guy? He was actually a psychopath in the end, a real life psychopath. And I have explained why on this channel years ago. I went with him away and he had a blade on him. This is cutting a long story very short. I went to Thorpe Park with him, stayed in a hotel in separate rooms, and he had a blade on him that the people in the Thorpe Park confiscated. And I was just like, it was very, very nerve-wracking time. And I'm like, who are you gonna kill with that? And or who are you gonna hurt? I can't remember if I think I said kill. Who or yeah, who are you gonna I think I said the word kill that. Anyway, kill her. He said, not you. So I don't know what he was doing with the blade in a nightclub, but they said if you ever come back with this blade again, they will literally call the police. So that was a real life psychopath back in 2017, and I have no wish. And that was an older guy, a guy older than me in birth certificate age. So just because a guy's older does not mean to say he's better for me. I just wanted to stress that, because I have loads of people going, "Oh, you like younger guys, so you're not going to get a good guy if he's younger, if he's in his 20s, blah 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 blah." I'm like, older guys aren't any better just because they're older. It's what counts is the person's personality, the person's heart, the person's mindset, the how caring and kind and what beautiful attitude or not they've got to a person. It's actually got nothing to do with age, but people can be attracted to different age groups because that's who they're attracted to. And but yeah, a lot of people go, "Oh, you like younger guys," like, and some people are really rude, going, "Well, what to expect from a younger guy because he's younger?" It's like, well, just because a guy's younger doesn't mean to say he can't treat someone with respect. Doesn't mean to say he doesn't know what he wants. There are a lot of younger guys who don't know what they want, but there's still a lot of older guys, 40s, 50s, or whatever, who don't know what the hell they want either, and who don't treat a woman right either. There's tons of them still. So just because someone's younger doesn't mean to say that they don't know how to treat a person right. It's not usually an age thing. It's usually a personality thing and compatibility thing why people don't work out. You could have two people completely different ages, really huge age gap, but they could still be very suitable for each other because of the way they interact with each other, the way they communicate, the compatibility. Like, I'm not a typical older girl. I mean, some guys, they want an older woman to act like an older woman. I just don't. They want an older woman to cook for them and clean for them. I'm like, I'm the opposite to that. If you want a mother, go and get a woman who's actually old, who's acting like a mother. I don't want to be a mother. I've never wanted to be a mother to children. I don't want to be a mother to an adult. I'm not into mummying stuff, because some people are like, "Oh, you like a younger guy to mother." I'm like, no, I'm the opposite. I don't want to cook for him. I don't want to clean for him. I don't want to do any of that stuff for him. I like him to be independent in that way. If he wants to help me with housework, that's fair enough, because I hate it. And I've got disabilities. So that's fine, but I'm not interested in doing that for him. I'm really not. That would make my life hell, having his housework to do on top of my own, which I don't like and is horrible for me with my disabilities anyway. Washing up really hurts me. And obviously I've got injury at the moment as well. Injuries, should I say. So yeah, age gap is not about like the age per se, but some people, like some guys really genuinely are attracted to older girls, and some older girls are genuinely attracted to younger guys. I mean, if it's an older guy paired with a younger girl, then usually people like pat the guy in the back going, "Hey, look at what girl you've got. That's so good." But if it's an older woman with a younger guy, some people don't take offense. They don't like it, they take offense, but usually it's women who take offense. Usually other guys couldn't give a shit. Other guys, if I like younger guys, their mates usually like me anyway. I've in my experience, their mates usually will like me. Their mates usually will say hi to me or whatever. It's only other women that have got the problem, probably because they're jealous. They've got like they're older and they've got kids and they act older and they're in that older mindset and they're in the older birth certificate age. They act like that birth certificate age, or their mind is like that birth certificate age, and they've got children themselves. And it's like, I don't have kids. I don't think of myself as being with someone who's a kid or anything, because I'm not, because the guy's like in his 20s, and as far as I'm concerned, that's an adult, consenting adult, and I'm not interested in sex anyway. And I don't, and guys in their 20s are adults. Some of them don't know what they want still, because they're still studying and they haven't decided yet. But there's a lot of older guys that are just, they're just like sat around not doing much with their life. So, compatibility is about like shared interests, shared goals, shared hobbies, complementary or shared lifestyles, and it's about the person's personality, how kind and caring and loving and giving. Some younger guys genuinely like an older woman because they think an older woman won't mess them around, won't play games with them, knows what they want more. And I've had a younger guy saying that they think older women are more caring. which is very interesting, and good listeners usually. And they didn't say that just about me; they said about older women in general. They find them more caring, good listeners, don't play games, and that's what they like about older women in general. So there are benefits for a younger guy to be with an older girl, but it's still frowned upon more in society when the woman likes younger guys. But I just do in general, because it's just like the energy is so much more compatible for me. When I'm around guys in their 20s, it's just like I'm meant to be with that age group. I don't know how else to describe it. Whereas with older guys, I'm not saying with every older guy, but the majority of older guys, it's like more like they're my dad. Not that I literally like my dad, but it's more like I see him as a father figure, because I think that I'm in my 20s. And if a guy's, for example, older, even than in birth certificate age, then to me it's like I've got a huge age gap and I'm not interested in older guys. I don't know how else to describe it, because I'm not interested in older guys. To me, because my mindset's 21, I live like a teenager and I think I'm in my 20s. My mind's fixated on that, and my birth certificate age I don't relate to. I'm not interested in it. It's like the people that are near my birth certificate age or older, it's like I've got a huge gap with them that I wouldn't be interested, because I'm not interested in older guys. Do you get what I mean? So psychologically, those guys are older to me, and I'm not interested in them because I'm not interested in older guys. I'm interested in younger guys, if you know what I mean. So yeah, but usually the younger guy would kind of be the older one sometimes in the relationship, because I like being the younger one. And I do come across some guys who just think I'm far too energetic for them. They just don't have the energy, you know? I think that's funny. I think it's so funny. But yeah, we like who we like, don't we? Everyone's different. But like I was saying earlier, I don't think I've ever come across someone who labels themselves as a hyper kisser. I've never met another hyper kisser. I've never met someone in my life that actually says, like, I'm hyper kisser, I'm so into kissing. I've met guys who, if I say I like kissing a lot, they're like, oh yeah, I like kissing too. But that's not the same as actually saying I'm a hyper kisser. Like, I have to have kissing. I really need kissing. It's a really fundamental part of a relationship, because that's what it is for me, because I love kissing so much. But I better be careful not to keep talking about kissing, because it just makes me want to go and kiss all the time. And I get kissing sick, which is quite a phenomenon, isn't it? I get to the point where if I haven't kissed for a long time, I feel kissing sick. Like you miss your home, you feel homesick. It's like that. But with me, it's kissing. So, oh God, I really need kissing. But I don't want to just go around kissing anyone. Like, I don't have kissing needs for just anyone. So I'm not to the point where kissing, like some people have sexual desire, right? Separate to sexual attraction, so they desire sex in and of itself. I desire kissing in and of itself, but someone with sexual desire can usually just go and can usually just go and have sex with anyone to get their sexual needs met. I can't just kiss anyone to get my kissing needs met, because I have to have the aesthetic attraction usually present in order to kiss a guy. I can't kiss a guy I'm not aesthetically attracted to. And usually it helps if I'm romantically attracted to him as well. But I definitely cannot kiss a guy unless I've got aesthetic attraction for him. If I don't have any aesthetic attraction for him, I'm really not into kissing him. And I'm very beard repulsed. So even though I like Indian guys, a lot of them like beards, for example. I have beards. And it's like some guys will want to kiss me and they've got big bushy beard. I'm like, I just can't do it. I can't get that close enough to their mouth to kiss them, because it just puts me off. I see it as a barrier between me and kissing, and I just don't want a bush in my face. It's not appealing. The more facial hair they got, the less aesthetic I attracted to them I am, because I don't like hairy guys. I don't know why guys love beards so much and facial hair. I'm like, it's just disgusting to me. I'm just like, shave it off. I want beautiful, beautiful, soft baby skin. That's how it's meant to be. It's not meant to look like a gorilla. If I wanted a gorilla, I'd go into the zoo and cuddle a gorilla, which might be more appealing, because at least the gorilla's hair is kind of short looking, you know what I mean? But I'm not actually joking about the beard. I don't like facial hair, I really don't. So yeah, that's me. Like, hyper kisser, hyper romantic, very different. I feel that I'm very different and unique to the majority of the world population when it comes to my sexuality. Obviously, I'm asexual, which is unique. Well, 1% of the population a recorded 1% is asexual, so that means 1 out of every 100 people you meet is likely to be asexual. I think the figures are probably a little bit higher than that, but that's what was done in a survey years ago. And there are a lot of asexuals that aren't out about being asexual, so for fear of ridicule, what people will say, what their family will say, and stuff like that. So I'm guessing there's quite a few more of us than is recognized in the world. But I'd love it if more asexuals came out. I'd love it if more people were free to just choose the type of love they wanted, to be with the person they want to be with, family just accepting, relatives just accepting. You love this person, fine, it's great. Doesn't matter about the ethnicity, doesn't matter about the age, doesn't matter about the religion, if it doesn't matter to the two people that are in the relationship. Because as I say in my asexual book, Diary Confessions of a Hyperromantic Asexual, 78 Life Lessons to Asexual Life, no one should be defining a relationship other than the people who are in it. That's on Amazon, by the way, that book. And it's true. No one should be defining a relationship other than the people who are in it. And I would love to have a world where family, friends, relatives, accept the people, so long as that person's kind. I mean, obviously, I know there's some people who are abusive in the world, and family and friends, if they care about the person, is not going to want to see that person being abused. So I'm not talking about situations like that, but where people love each other and they're kind and caring towards each other, get on well. It shouldn't matter what religion or race or ethnicity or age the people are. Obviously, they've got to be consensual age, they've got to be legal age, because people need to be adult consensual age to make informed choices and decisions. But if they're consenting adults, they should be able to be together if they want to be, regardless of if someone, for example, is from Hong Kong and the other person's from South Africa. You know what I'm saying? Love is love at the end of the day, and I think people should just be free to be who they want to be in the world and love who they want to love. I don't get people who are just horrible to people because they love someone who's the same gender as them, or they love someone who's gender fluid, or they love someone who's trans or non-binary, or they love someone who's a different religion to them, or they love someone who's a different creed or culture to them. I don't get why people can't just accept that. I mean, at the end of the day, as long as the people love each other and they're happy and kind and caring towards each other, what does it matter? I think the world should just embrace love in all its multifaceted components, whether it's got grey areas or it's very vanilla areas, whether it's, on display or not. I'm very public. I like being a public girl. I love public displays of affection, which I know is very different to a lot of people. My parents are very opposite to me, by the way, in case you didn't already know that. They're completely opposite to me. They're introverted, I'm extrovert. They don't, I don't even see them kiss in front of me usually, let alone in public. And I'm the opposite. I like kissing in public. For me, it's a very beautiful thing. It's very exciting. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of very freeing. So part of my identity, if you like, is I like freedom within a relationship, like freedom to kiss a guy whenever I want. Obviously, I need a guy who wants the same, because you can't be with someone who doesn't want that type of thing, because it wouldn't work. It's not compatible. But I like to be free to kiss and hold hands wherever I want. Like if I see two people kissing, some people don't like that. They're like, oh, I don't want to see that in public. Rah, rah, rah. I'm thinking you can just look the other way. I can look the other way if I don't like two people kissing in public. But when I see them, I'm like, good for them. You are literally in the moment, loving on each other or whatever you're doing, kissing each other, and you're having exciting times with each other, because you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You could die tomorrow. You could die in the blink of a hat. You could just die, couldn't you? And never ever see that person again. Personally, I think it's much better to be a couple who are full on snogging in public than it is, and if they went out of the train, for example, say they're snogging on a train, went off that train, and for some reason they both died or one of them died, right? But they knew that they were fully into each other, they were enjoying the moment. but yet you got a couple who's arguing or whatever, and they just like shouted or ranted at each other and went off, and one of them died or both of them died. Like, which would it? It's better. It's better to be full on snogging into each other, loving each other, not caring what others think. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mind if people kiss in public, because I can't expect me to want to kiss in public if I'm not okay with other people doing it. So I'm fine with people kissing in public. I'm fine with guys kissing guys in public. If women want to kiss other women in public, that's, fine. Whatever women, guys, whatever gender wants to kiss, whatever. Like, I've been to a club when I used to go to Timepiece in my city, which I love going to. I haven't been to for ages. Then, in that club, there's guys kissing guys, there's gay guys, there's lesbians kissing girls kissing girls. There's me, who's probably the only asexual that I know of there. And you know what I mean? So there's hetero people as well, guys and girls kissing each other. So I think that's a great club to go to, because it doesn't matter what gender you are, you can kiss whatever other gender you are attracted to. Do you know what I mean? And everyone's having fun there. That's why I love that club in my city. It's very LGBT plus friendly. Plus they've got hetero people there, and everyone's just having a great time with whoever they want to have a great time with, kissing and doing whatever. You know what I mean? And no one's like bats an eyelid. No one goes like, oh, you can't do that. Everyone's just like, yeah, having fun with the music. They don't give a toss shit, if you like, excuse my language. They're just out having fun. I think that's how the whole world should be. Like, if someone wants to kiss someone and they're not harming each other or other people, like, what does it matter? Everyone should just be having a good time. And I think it's really sad that when people get older a lot of the time, they stop showing affection in public. That really annoys me. I'm like, why? Why is it when people get into a relationship, they stop the magic? They stop like appreciating each other as much. They stop like missing each other. It's like there's a lot of things in the dating world, right, where people say you should date each other even if you've been together years. And I totally agree with that. It's really important to have date nights, keep the spark alive, keep the magic alive, and spend quality time with each other. But there's some people that like don't appreciate people even if they've been with them a long time. And I don't think I'm one of those type of people. I think I'm the type of person that even if I've been with the person like 15 years or whatever, which I've never been with a person that long at all, but I haven't even been with a person 10 years, but just say theoretically, I would still miss them sometimes when I'm away from them. Even if I don't see them for hours, sometimes I might miss them, because for me, I'm just that person who is romantic, who does like to be around my favorite guy, if you like, romantically. And I'm a person that does appreciate someone, because I always think you never know. That person could walk out that door and you never ever see them again. Life's so short, and people don't look at things like that. I look at things quite drastically, I guess. Like, oh, if you were never to see this person again, would you be really sad right now? Like, and so I think like when you're in a relationship, even if it's like 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, I think you should still be appreciating the person, providing they're kind and caring to you, of course. Obviously, if they're treating like dirt, then no. But if they're still like kind and caring and doing things for you and caring about you and being committed and serious and stuff, but it takes two people to be like that. I find like a lot of the time, I feel like I'm more different to everyone else. I feel like people get bored of each other more in relationships, or so they say. Like, I know even traditional dating coaches are like, oh, after a certain amount of years, you get bored of the person, or you get like complacent. It's like, well, I've never had that. I've been in 2 long-term relationships, and the reason that they ended was because they were abusive, and the guys ended up being interested in other women. So yeah, but I I'm of the mindset that you still care about a person, and you should still be like having the feelings like you did when you were first with them. You know what I mean? I don't think it should change. And I know some people are like, oh, after a while you get bored in relationships. I'm like, well, I don't get bored of myself, because I'm just like too hyper to be bored. And so why should you get bored in a relationship? But I understand some people apparently do, you know. But I like my hyper personality because I think it's hard to get bored of a hyper personality. If you like that type of thing. Depends what your flavor is, I guess. But anyway, I'm digressing here. But I just wanted to go more and dive more deeper into my own asexuality. And some people might not understand the difference between arousal and sexual attraction, sexual desire. So sexual attraction is the innate need, desire, want for partnered sexual intercourse with one person or multiple people. Sexual desire is the desire for sex in and of itself. And you can desire someone sexually because you desire them to have sex with them. And arousal doesn't have to be aimed at anyone. Some people's arousal is aimed at someone, other people's arousal isn't. So arousal is a response like in your genitalia, but it doesn't have to be linked to anything or anyone. But for some people, obviously the people that experience sexual attraction in the world, it's often aimed at someone because often they have arousal for someone, for doing sexual things with someone. And because they're sexually attracted, the sexual attraction and arousal go together because arousal makes them want to act on the sexual attraction usually. And the sexual attraction or sexual arousal go together for them. Whereas for me, can experience, not always, arousal, but no sexual attraction. So arousal for kissing usually. I love kissing so much. Have I mentioned that? I think I've mentioned that multiple times. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed hearing other people's perspectives before my own. And a happy Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month again, celebrating our diversity across the asexual spectrum and our differences within it. Don't forget to grab a copy of Asexual Perspectives book on Amazon. It's got 47 asexual stories in it, including my own. And grab a copy of best-selling book, Diary Confessions of a Hyper-Romantic Asexual, 78 Life Lessons to Ace Your Life. Both these are bestseller books on Amazon. And I'll see you soon next video live stream. Lots of love. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss an episode. And I'll see you soon next video live stream. Lots of love. Thank you for watching. Take care and see you soon. Stay ace.